So the reason for the studio was
I was bored. I had nothing better to do.
Because our camera guys were complaining about noise.
I got tired of listening to the photo guys whine all the time about how they couldn't hit the quality levels that I wanted to hit.
anytime we wanted to film interviews or taste testings or anything for these videos, we always had to do it after hours because we wanted it to have a good background for our shoots. And the only really good place we had was at the deli.
But it wasn't really practical. You know, sometimes you might go there, you might have customers in the area that you want to film in. It might be loud sometimes, so.
When we didn't want to interrupt people's dining experiences and all that, so we always did it after 8 o'clock. And so by the time we were done, it was like midnight, 1 in the morning. And it was always just such a production because you had to drag everything down there and set it all up.
And when they wanted to do videos with all of us in there, he's a little bit cramped.
The reason that I've wanted the studio really is gives us a lot more angles. We can be set up, interviews can be done quicker and easier. We're all very busy. We don't just sit around shooting these videos.
We're building a studio. So we're gonna take this room right here. So I guess this is about as close to a before as you're gonna get. And we're gonna turn it into a studio where we have multiple different places where we can shoot. The lighting will be set up in advance. A lot of the mics will be set up in advance. So it'll be easy just to come in here and shoot interviews and stuff like that. So over the course of the next couple weeks, we should completely transform this room into a BW Blacksmith masterpiece.
Gives us a little bit of dimension and different backgrounds, and we don't have to go so far.
When we do need to do an interview or something like that, being able to have some place where we can just set it up and shoot and go is really important to me. And at the same time, I'm hoping that they look really good. It gives us multiple angles to shoot from, and it was a fun project. Not that I need it anymore, but surprisingly, I think we probably knocked this thing out in 2 weekends and a little bit of time with Cassie in between. So it wasn't a killer project by any means for us, and hope you like it. Chinese virus. That particular day, I was in a mood, and I was in that mood because I looked up the price of plywood. I mean, let's just be real.
The Chinese virus, the lumber prices are jacked. So we're going to invent a new kind of slat board for this wall over here. It's called Go Out to the Warehouse, See What I Got Laying Around, and cut it up. So it's not gonna be uniform, it's gonna be all rough, rustic, and crazy. So we're going into the scrap piles. I don't care if I have to splice that wall together with 12-inch by 12-inch pieces of plywood. That's what we're gonna do. That's my plan. That's why I'm the boss. I'm not gonna spend 50 bucks for a sheet of plywood, it should be 30.
I've already got a house build that we had planned for really the last year and a half to do for Mandy and Quentin that we were going to do this winter.
Part of the reason we've actually put off building our house is because for us to do it ourselves, it would be really expensive just to buy the lumber.
We used pretty much all of our scrap wood up because all of the prices for our plywood and everything have skyrocketed.
We managed to kind of scrounge around with what we had left over, and we're able to pull the space together with honestly scraps and stuff we had from previous projects.
We're gonna piece it together, but I'm fine with that. Like I said, we're using, this stuff is like 50 bucks a sheet now, so we're flipping China the bird right now. That's what we're doing. In my heart, that's what I'm doing.
So yeah, I'm probably a little bit better when it comes to construction material prices. This was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back, so it just kind of came out.
This is our Chinese virus wall. We need to make sure we don't post it, but when we're done, we should all line up and flip them the bird standing in front of that wall. Again, as I promised, we're basically emptying out my scrap yards to make a beautiful wall, because we can't afford lumber anymore because of the Chinese virus. And we're gonna probably ruin my blade, but we can get, right now blades are cheaper than wood because of the Chinese virus. The Chinese virus wall. In America, we eat beef not bats. Now, I understand that cows fart a lot more than a bat, but we don't care because this is America and we eat beef, not bats. I will never eat a bat. I don't want a bat. That's all I'm gonna say.
Hard for me to hide, I guess, my political views on the subject. I obviously do strongly believe that this is the Chinese virus, and that it could have been prevented by them if they would have handled things a little bit better. So I'm a little irritated with them.
This is not the China virus wall, that's that one. I'm letting Mandy and Quentin work on that for obvious reasons. This wall has been impacted by the Chinese virus. You can see that we basically pulled up crap from all over the building, and that's what we're putting up on this wall. Call it the Chinese virus wall. We were trying to do a nice wall, but because Chinese eat bats, this is the best we could do.
So yeah, I guess you can mark me down, Shane Willems, anti-China. And definitely believe that the China virus is the reason that we had to use a bunch of random scraps so that I didn't have to go pay any of those prices. I guess the good news is I got rid of a lot of my random scraps.
I think we've pretty much rounded up every single bit of 3/4 inch plywood that I have left in this building.
We just used pieces that we had around the shop to scrap together and kind of stitch together a wall, a base wall that we could install those 2x4 blocks on.
I hope everybody likes it. I know some people may be offended, and I do apologize if I do offend anybody. That's not my intent, but I know there's a lot of people that share my views as well and are going to have a lot of fun with it. In short, I was just having fun. I mean, it's I definitely made everybody here laugh as I did it, and I hope you guys enjoy it.
What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put some posts on the wall out of this, and then we'll put those in between it. I think it'll add some, so hey, that's why I'm the boss. I'm the brains of the operation.
The columns versus posts versus floorboards or whatever it was that went on the Chinese virus wall that Quentin was working on.
So the day before the install, I go back there and I see Shane cutting these laminate floorboards, cutting the ends off and cutting the sides off to make just a simple plank. And so I question it, wondering what he's doing. What are those gonna be for?
It's like this. Said it once, I'm gonna say it again. We have to build our photo wall out of scraps because people in China like to eat bats.
Remember, we're rounding up scraps. So this is actually flooring out of my house, I believe, and is what those posts ended up being from.
This is actually beautiful flooring. This is what's in our house. It's nice floor.
And the other stuff is just slat board that we've made for different wall projects that we've done at various places, be it at BW or wherever.
And so the next day when we go to install them,
Quentin, come here and I'll explain what you're doing. 2 of those boards should be enough. You need to cut all of your ends. Don't put one up and then do the other. Cut all your ends because you got to get those tongues off.
okay.
I've already tried a disclaimer. I didn't like how it turned out. I didn't like the video. We aired it anyhow, so again, I hope somebody got some enjoyment out of it.
A lot of people are coming to me and telling me that he doesn't have to treat me that way, that they felt so bad for me.
I guess to try to explain it, all I was trying to do is come up with an example to Quentin as to how we were going to utilize these boards on the wall.
So you're gonna have post, corner post, and then post. All right.
Now, are they going flat against the wall?
Why are you looking at me like I'm from Mars? When you give me that look, I'm like, oh shit, this isn't.
I'm just wondering why you're calling them posts.
We didn't have enough of either one to do the entire wall. So, and the big problem is that the slats are a different thickness than what I called the posts. So I was trying to explain to Quentin, and this started, and I don't really think it was on video, out in the shop earlier like a day or so earlier when we were looking for these materials. And I called him posts, and he was being kind of a smart aleck about it.
It more than likely started from Quentin just being Quentin and wanting to be a smart aleck about it. My dad is prone to call things when they're not necessarily called something. He'll just make up a name for it or call it something, and you're just supposed to know what he's referring to. Quentin sometimes will fight back on that and be like, that's not the technical name for something. So I'm assuming that's probably how it started. And then it kind of just compounded from there, where my dad likes to razz people.
So when we come in here, I kind of picked up on the same interaction with Quentin, but I don't know if he was in a mood or what was going on, but he didn't play back.
It was just Sunday morning, I was tired, man.
So I'm trying to still turn this into some sort of a reenactment of the back and forth that we were having.
How does a post go?
A post would sit like that.
And go which way? Okay,
What do
let
you
me
mean? You
try
have
to put
a-
it. Would it
you
go
have four rows
horizontal
like-
or would it go vertical, Quentin?
Well, it'd go vertical.
Okay, which way would a rail go?
A rail would go horizontal.
Okay, so you're still curious why I'm calling them posts? You're putting a bunch of horizontal boards on a wall, and then you're putting some straight up and down. What would you rather me call that? Flooring that's been turned into boards that we're
Oh
going to
my
run
God,
in
can you
a
just
vertical
continue?
position? Or can I simply just call them posts? They're going to look like posts when you look at the wall.
Sometimes you can put up with Shane, sometimes you can't. And that morning was one of them. So he might have been a bit of an ass about it, but I was definitely egging him on about it. So
In reality, all that I was trying to do initially was explain to Quentin how they were going to go on the wall, why they needed to go that way, and the main reason was because they were thicker, so we turned them into posts. So we have posts every so many feet going along the wall, and then we have the rails going in between them. That's one way to explain it.
Did he or did he not say, I just don't understand why he's calling them posts. I don't know why you're calling them posts. So I'm
You
explaining
called
why
them
I'm
posts.
calling
You
them
called them
posts.
technically. You called them columns the other day. So I'm imagining something
Hey,
like this.
I've seen columns used that way too. Call them columns, call them posts, call them whatever you want to call them. Just put them on the wall right.
okay.
Quentin just straight up looks him in the face and says, they're not posts, they are floor laminate.
These are laminate floorboards, so you call them posts.
Yeah, whatever.
And Dad just kind of got annoyed at it, so they started bickering about that.
What are you putting up right now?
Boards, flat boards on the wall.
And what do you call those, Quinn?
These actually.
You
would
can be a dumbass about this if you want, but you know this is going to come up.
These are actually.
There's going to be
laminate
I will
floorboards.
guarantee.
As far as where it ended, I think it's all good. They both agreed that we can call them whatever you want to call them. They're basically some form of divider or something that separates the boards to where we didn't have to make more boards.
Is that paint about ready?
All right, Tim, you got the...
Well, I want to put some in the corner before I go down. Corner? Why can't corner work?
Why can't post work?
Post will work. Can we move on from post? We'll call it a post.
Good grief, are we still on that? I'm not even over
Mandy
there.
brought it back up. Okay?
Let it go, bro.
It was Mandy.
Honestly, he was, I think, just messing with me. He was trying to get a rise out of me. Sometimes he does it to have fun, and sometimes he does it just to do it. I think you'd have to ask him. In my opinion, I think this time he was just doing it to do it. He wasn't necessarily trying to have fun, and that's why it kind of came across the way that it did. But hey, that's us.
Guys, honestly, it's all good. I'm probably the one that started that, so you can be upset at him, but if you want to be upset at him, you got to be upset at me too. I was pushing him to do it.
It's fine. It's just a prank.
So basically we have a drywall wall is what we started with, just a regular drywall wall. This used to be a TV wall. And we're putting 3/4 inch plywood over that, and then we'll space it out some with 2x4s on the thicker side. Then we'll start putting our 2x4 blocks from here all the way down to the floor. And then we'll just narrow that down as we go, and then we'll be back down to here. I'd like to tell you what's going over here, but my children are still thinking about it, I guess. That's what they say. That's it.